Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Fix YouTube channel. My name is FPL Phillips and I'm delighted to be bringing you some content again once in this world of FPL. Apologies for no uploads from me last week. I was meant to do some episodes of Eddie versus the algorithm, but I wasn't feeling very good, so we'll talk about what's going to happen with those scores in tomorrow's video. But today it's going to be my team reveal. Got to update you on a few game weeks where we weren't going to cover them anyway, but what's happened in there. What's my current rank looking like? I've got 2 free transfers heading into this game week, so let's see what we're doing. I've also got a wildcard still to play, so we're going to discuss that as well in terms of my transfer plans. I can look a little bit more short term, so I'm looking at some more juicy and exciting punts, if that's any enough to keep you sticking around for the video. As always, make sure to subscribe if you are new around here. If you want to check out any of the tools used in this video, make sure to via the links down below in the description. Without any more further ado, let's get into things, shall we? So, after a couple of game weeks where we've not really covered them, my rank currently sits at 775k. That is actually quite a distance up from where I was before last game week, where I scored 60 points. So I jumped from around 1.1 million up to this rank I'm at now. I've got 1.6 million in the bank and 2 free transfers to play with, as well as a wild card still, which I've got to use, which I'm going to use in game week 20, which is, I've been kind of double checking this and looking in the rules, because traditionally, it's been around game week 19 when you can last use the wild card, but you can use it for the game week 20. So, making transfers for that deadline of game week 20, you can use the wildcard in that week. That's my current plan. So I've got 2 free transfers. Just going to be going with some more fun, exciting short-term punts until then. But we have got a lot of dilemmas in our teams at the moment. I think I can speak for the majority of managers when I do say that, and I am no exception. And I start off in goal with a bit of an issue because I have Sam Johnston as my starting goalkeeper, and I also still have Turner in my team. I'm not one of those who took the luxury transfer of bringing in Dubravka for him or something like that. So I've been sticking with Johnston. He's got some tough fixtures. He's now got this injury doubt as well. If he is back and fit, there is a world where I do not take Johnston out this week. But if he is injured, obviously I'm going to want to keep it playing. So it's going to be Neto that comes in for me. He's got 3 really nice fixtures. Short-term punt looks really nice. And then I can just take him out on a wild card because, to be honest, I'm not sure he's the option for me long term, but I do like the look of him on a wild card. He is quite fun and exciting, and where, Leno's got a bit of a tricky fixture this week against Newcastle, and a few other goalkeepers like Raya don't have the best fixtures as well. I quite like the idea of going for Neto or Bournemouth. In defence, I think, is the main area where a lot of us have issues. I've just watched a Manchester United game where Maguire, who is quite highly owned in FPL at the moment, is also injured. So my 5 defenders are Lascelles, Tsimikas, Cash. Then I've got Taylor, who's suspended for this one due to his yellow cards, and Kabore. So quite a few defenders in there who might not start this week, mainly Cash to Taylor, of course, who definitely won't. And then Kabore could be a bit of a risk as well. So Lascelles and Tsimikas are 2 that are nailed in my side, and I'm going to keep, I know for sure. Matty Cash, I'm a bit worried about, and I'm looking to remove him, but because funds aren't really too much of an issue for me, I think I may well go for Kabore, upgrading him instead, but we'll talk about that in just a moment when we discuss kind of my transfers as a whole. In midfield, I'm lining up with Salah as the captain this week, with Manchester United now losing Shaw and Maguire in one match in midweek. They look bad enough as it is. I already had the armband on him at home. Was it 7 goals they put past him last year? So it makes no stiff sense to go with anyone else, really. But we are going to discuss the other options in just a second. I've got Heung-min Son in there, Cole Palmer, Saka, Bowen. Really happy with how my midfield is looking this week. Some really nice fixtures as well, 4 of those being at home. Palmer was my transfer in last week. Didn't go too well, but needed an Mbeumo replacement, and he was an obvious one to kind of go for. I'm quite glad that I'm someone who's actually owned Mbeumo since the start of the season, so he wasn't one that I've transferred in just 1 or 2 game weeks ago, and then I'm having to remove immediately, so I didn't, luckily, do that transfer myself recently. And then up front, we've got Erling Haaland, who is another injury doubt, and then Dominic Solanke. So the news today has been surrounding Haaland, not very positive at the start of the day, and then towards the end of the day, seeming to be more positive. A lot of the updates on Haaland seem to be coming actually from what his family members and friends are doing with their transfers. I'm not sure if it's from a reliable source, but I saw on Twitter just a few moments ago, we didn't have time to confirm it or anything, that Haaland's dad might have actually transferred him back in after removing him from his team last week. So if that's the case, then it does tend to be a world where that's quite a reliable thing, because last game week lots of Haaland's relatives and friends removed him, and then he was not in the squad. There's news coming out that he'll be back on Thursday as well, and then there'll be an assessment ahead of the Crystal Palace game at the weekend. So with all that said and done, I'm actually slightly inclined to keep Haaland. I've got 1.6 million in the bank. I can afford to do a move that I would like to do with that money instead. And the move that I will do if I keep Haaland is going to be Pedro Porro in, most likely for Matty Cash. So that would be the move, at least with the one free transfer. And then either I'm going to use the second one on Johnston, or I'm going to use the second one on Haaland if he's out, basically, is how things are going to go down there. So yeah, I would like to make the keeper move, and I would like to make the defender move. Ideally, if I had the money, I would probably go for Trent Alexander-Arnold. And if Haaland is out, that's where I'm thinking about taking a hit to do something like Haaland down to an Ollie Watkins, maybe even Alvarez, but I don't have the strongest bench with how bad my defence is right now to be able to bench him for Man City's blank. So I am mainly looking at Ollie Watkins as an option up front. But there are a few other punts I've got my eye on as well that I could end up going for. On that kind of theme, let's have a look at some differential captaincy options for this week as well. Some differential captaincy options for this week, I should say, if you didn't catch that one. Salah is the main standout pick for me, but there are two other options that I'm considering putting my own armband on as well, and this is on the assumption that Haaland is out this weekend. But if he's fit, and, you know, I'm not sure we'll get news concrete that he's 100% going to start, so I think Salah is still probably the better option, then these are two other ones you could consider for this week. Salah's only on 6.4 predicted points, so not a large distance ahead of someone like a Solanke or indeed a Heung-min Son, who we've got in here in the captaincy matrix for this week. In terms of fixtures, the Nottingham Forest fixture coming in as a grey one on the fixture ticker on FPL. I'm not sure if I agree with that so much. We can look at the expected goals conceded of these teams for a better judge based on the data from the OptaStats tool over on Fantasy Football Fix. And Luton obviously have the worst defence of the bunch. Manchester United then actually do have a worse defence than Nottingham Forest. So 1.75 XGC for them per 90 and 1.50 for Forest, who haven't looked too bad of a defensive side. Spurs are away from home as well against Forest in that one, whereas Liverpool are at home. So obviously the Luton fixture is a favourable one, and Bournemouth are in some fantastic form right now. But I think it is maybe just a case of having Solanke is maybe enough of a differential at the moment. He's only got a live ownership of around 12%. Would expect that to be more by the deadline, though, especially if Haaland's out. I think Solanke could be a popular replacement. In terms of size, Liverpool are the best attacking force of the lot, but Heung-min Son's expected FPL points per on an individual basis has been very impressive as of late, 6.79 per 90 for the season so far for him. But let's get into having a look at the top 10 predicted points scorers for this game week now. As we look at these, we've got Salah up at the top, Solanke in second, and Son in third. So those are the three options we looked at for captaincy. Julian Alvarez is then in here, nearly priced at 7 million now. May well earn himself maybe another price rise before the game week deadline if Haaland is indeed out. But yeah, 5.6 points for him. Do bear in mind he's got the blank next week, so you need to consider your squad depth. But if you're at a point where, you know, you've got 4 or maybe even 5 good, strong defenders, you could play a 4-5-1 or maybe a 3-5-2 next week and bench Haaland. So that's the other case, whereas someone like myself has Mubama or not very good third striker. If you're able to have, or you have a third striker right now, or you could even get one in by using some funds you're getting from downgrading Haaland, then that's another possibility as a way into which you can field an 11 and still own Alvarez for the nice fixtures that Man City have over the next couple of games around that blank. We then got Salah and Trent both tied on 5.3 apiece. Would really love to own Trent. It's just going to be a funds issue, and basically the only way I could get Trent in is if I downgrade Haaland this week, and that would involve taking a -4 basically. I could do Haaland down and get Trent in, but I would probably want to make the keeper move as well as things stand, or maybe even another defensive transfer too. But I think a lot of people will be taking hits this week, so I'm not, leading into it too much, and I'm not thinking too much, and I guess making a big deal out of taking a hit this week. It's all fun and games, really, isn't it? I quite like taking the odd cheeky hit. We've then got Foden at 5.1, Alisson Becker at 5.1, and Nick Jackson 4.0. Foden's one I would be looking at with some keen eye if I did have a midfielder who I wasn't confident in at the moment, but I really like my midfield. That's where a lot of my transfers have been used recently. I think Jackson, a bit of a surprising one to see in there. Let me know if you've got any thoughts on him coming into your side. But yeah, that's going to wrap up this week's video and my team reveal for this upcoming game week. Let me know how you guys are doing down below, and if you've got any questions, those are what I would like you to drop most of all down below in the comments, so I can try and get back to them and help you out with any of your own transfer dilemmas that you may be having. Do you rate my transfer plans? Neto, Pedro Porro, these are the transfer targets I'm looking at. Have you got any other differentials that you really like the look of that maybe you're not brave enough to go for, maybe you are brave enough to go for? Could call it stupidity, I suppose. Pop them down below in the comments anyway. I'm here to listen to inspiration from you guys as well, because with that wild card, I want to take a few risks over the next couple of game weeks and have some fun. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I'll see you soon for Eddie versus the algorithm, hopefully, and I hope to catch you there. Goodbye.